Hello, everyone. So, guys, I'm recording this video to help you to understand and to answer the exercises that we have planned for this or third week. And this video is going to be about the topic of relative pronouns, that it will be the topic that corresponds to our third week of work. So, I will let start by mentioning some of the relative pronouns that we're going to see during the class. They are who, whom, which, whose, and that. And those relative pronouns help us to introduce relative clauses. And relative clauses are the clauses that tell us which person or thing the speaker or a person is referring to. And we're going to start by figuring out who and that. They are relative pronouns that refer to. For example, those people live next door. They have 16 children. The people who live next door or the people that live next door have 16 children. As you can see, those and they are the pronouns of the sentences, and who and that are the personal pronouns that help us to construct the clause. Then we have which and that. They are referring to things. For example, a turtle is an animal. It lives in the sea. A turtle is an animal which lives in the sea or that lives in the sea. So they are helping us to connect the ideas. Here we have another example of subjects of relative clauses. I know a man. He is a lawyer. He will be the subject of the clause. Then the pronouns who and that will be the relative pronouns who help us to link the ideas. I know a man who is a lawyer. I know a man that is a lawyer. Then we have another example. A dog ran away. A dog is mine. The dog which ran away is mine. The dog that ran away is mine. Again, the dog will be the subject of the clause, and which and that will be the relative pronouns that will help us to link both ideas. Then we have those relative pronouns can never be omitted, because if we omit it, we're going to have an incomplete clause. There we go. The object of relative clauses. I spoke to a man I have met before. I have met him before. I spoke to a man whom I had met before, who I had met before, and that I had met before. Then, that's the book. I read it last summer. It will be the pronoun of the sentence, and which and that will be the relative pronouns that will help us to link the information. That's the book which I read last summer. That's a book that I read last summer. Then, those relative pronouns can be sometimes omitted, but just in defining relative clauses, we're going to see what the defining relative clauses are, so on in this video. While we go up to there, we're going to continue with whose. That is used with to refer to possessive adjectives with people, objects, and animals. For example, that's a woman. Her house caught on fire yesterday. That's a woman whose house caught fire yesterday. Again, her will be the pronoun, and whose will be the relative pronoun that help us to link ideas. That's the house, another example. Its entrance is guarded. That's the house whose entrance is guarded. Then, those relative pronouns can never be omitted, because if we omit it, we're going to have, again, incomplete clauses. Then, we're going to see prepositions that are usually avoided before relative pronouns. We're going to see how they work. That's the car for which I paid $2,000. This is a formal expression. That's a car which or that I paid 2,000 for. That is a more casual expression. And that's the car I paid 2,000 for will be an everyday English normal expression. Both the three of them are correct. There we have. I already mentioned that we have different types of relative clauses. We have the defining relative clauses and non-defining relative clauses. And we know that we have relative pronouns that help us to connect ideas, but in this case, having both cases, we have different pronouns that works with each one of them. For example, with defining relative clauses, we have pronouns like who, whom, which, that, when, and where. And with non-defined relative clauses, we have pronouns such as who, whom, which, when, and where. We're going to see how they work. For defining relative clauses, they provide us necessary information. It is essential to the meaning of the main sentence. The relative pronouns can be omitted when they are in the object of the relative clause, and the relative clause is not put in commas, so that means that it is not necessary to add commas to separate ideas. Then we have people are fined. Which people? The people who or the people that park illegally. Then we have another example. Which people? Those people who parks illegally. Then another example. The film was boring. Which film? Pues the film which or the film that I watched yesterday. Then which film? The one I watched yesterday. Then we have the non-defining relative clauses. In this case, they are giving us extra information. But this information it's not essential to the meaning of the sentence. Then relative pronouns cannot be omitted, they are forced. Then that cannot be used. And the relative pronouns needs commas, so it's necessary to add commas to separate information. We're going to see how they work. The Jeffersons live next door. The Jeffersons, comma, who own a Jaguar, comma, live next door. As you can see, we can take who own a Jaguar as extra information, como los apósitos que vienen en los exámenes. Los apósitos son las partes de las oraciones que nos proveen de información extra. So in this case, that's what we are adding commas at the beginning and at the end because we are providing extra information. And if we don't really separate it, we're going to have problems to differentiate what are we talking about. So it is just to keep an order in the sentence. Then another example, my cat is called Monty. My cat, which I found on the street, comma, again, it's called Monty. Again, we start with a comma at the beginning and a comma at the end of our extra information we are providing. And then the relative adverbs, where, when, and why. Why are giving us a reason. For example, I didn't get a pay rise. That was the reason why I left. I didn't get a pay rise. That was the reason that I left. Then, the defining relative clauses. Where refers to a place after nouns like place, house, street, town, and country. Then we will continue recapping information. Example, the street where we used to play is very busy now. The street which or the street that we used to play in is very busy now. Then, we also have when that refers to time, and it is placed after nouns like time, period, moments, and days. For example, I'll never forget the day when I first met him. I'll never forget the day that I first met him. Then, just to recap the non-defining pronouns, we have where that is always placed after a named place. For example, I stop in Dallas. Dallas is a named place. So we add a comma and we continue with where my sister lives. We continue with the something that is happened in the named place we already talked about. In this case was Dallas. Then we have when, the pronoun, the relative pronoun when, that we always use after a named time. For example, 3:30 p.m. will be a named time. Come back at 3:30 p.m., comma, when I won't be busy. So after 30 past 3, the person won't be busy, and it is a consequence of that. So that's why we are adding again a comma. So guys, hope you understand and hope you like this video and hope it help us. It help you to understand and to answer the exercises that we have programmed. Please don't forget that we're gonna have our meeting this Friday at 12 p.m. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye bye.